There's a sound. If you were there, you already hear it. The menu music, the slow fade in, a screen that asked you to choose, while a quiet melody played in the background. For millions of people around the world, that screen was the doorway to an entire era. This is the story of Pro Evolution Soccer 6, and why, 20 years later, we still can't let it go. It was 2006. The PlayStation 2 was reaching the end of its life, but it was still the heart of gaming in most of the world. A new console generation was arriving. Everything was about to change. And right in the middle of that moment, Konami released what many still call the greatest football game ever made. It didn't have the flashiest graphics. It didn't have every official license. It didn't need them. Because what it had was something the industry has spent 20 years trying to recapture. It had feel. The ball had weight. When you passed, you felt it travel. When you struck it from distance, you felt the power leave your foot. Defending wasn't automatic. You had to read the game, time your challenge, earn the ball back. Nothing was given to you. Everything was earned. And that was exactly why it was so addictive. There was one player everyone remembers, Adriano. In the game, he wore the Inter Milan shirt, and he felt unstoppable. Players passed the legend around in every schoolyard and every internet cafe. They said you could score from the halfway line with him. Some spent hours trying. Some never managed it. But everyone tried, because this game made you want to chase the impossible. But the real soul of PES 6 wasn't the famous players. It was a team that didn't exist. When you started Master League, the career mode, you weren't handed superstars. You were given a squad of unknowns. Castolo, Minanda, Espimas, Zimiles. Names that meant nothing to the world of football. Names that somehow came to mean everything to us. They weren't fast. They weren't skilled. They missed chances they should have scored. They made mistakes that cost you games. And yet, season after season, you fought alongside them. You watched them grow. You felt the loss when an old favorite retired. You sold a player and felt a strange guilt, like you had betrayed a friend. This was the magic no graphics could buy. A football game gave you fictional characters made of nothing but polygons and numbers, and turned them into people you remembered for the rest of your life. Ask anyone who played it. They will say the names back to you instantly. Castolo, Minanda, Espimas. An entire generation shares the same memory. And here is what makes PES 6 more than just a game. It was a turning point. For years, PES and FIFA had been rivals. Through the early 2000s, PES was the one critics praised, the one purists loved. In 2006, at the peak of that rivalry, PES 6 outscored its competitor in review after review. It was the king. It was on top of the world. And that was exactly the problem, because the top is the only place from which you can fall. The next generation of consoles arrived. The next PES struggled. The magic feeling slipped away, and slowly, quietly, the rival caught up. Some say it learned from everything PES had done right. Year by year, the crown changed hands. The series that had defined football gaming began a long, painful decline. PES 6 was the last game of an era, the last great chapter before everything changed. It stood at the exact line between the golden age and the long goodbye. That is why it hurts. We didn't just love a game. We watched the end of something without knowing it at the time. But here is the part that still gives me hope. PES 6 never really died. 20 years later, people still play it. They still gather online. They build patches, update the squads, organize tournaments. In bedrooms and cafes across Brazil, Turkey, Indonesia, the Middle East, and far beyond, the game lives on. It was loved most in the places that often couldn't even buy it. It traveled by word of mouth, by shared computers, by friends showing friends. And it stayed. Because PES 6 was never really about football. It was about a Friday night with your friends. It was about a rivalry settled on a couch. It was about being young and having time and not knowing how rare that feeling was. We grew up. The cafes closed. The friends scattered. The consoles were put away in boxes. But that menu music is still there. And the moment it plays, we are 16 again. The match is about to start, and everything good is still ahead of us. That is the real reason we can't let go of PES 6. It's not the game we miss. It's who we were when we played it. If this brought back a memory, leave the name of your Master League captain in the comments. Let's see how many of us still remember.